We are delighted and honored to host this webinar on innovative conceptualization in research and development and startups. I wish to express my gratitude to all participants for their cooperation. I thank our principal for encouraging us to organize this webinar, and I thank all the organizers. And I shall take this opportunity to introduce our today's speaker, Dr. Nikhil Agarwal Garu, to the audience. Nikhil Agarwal holds the twin charge of CEO First FIRST, Foundation for Innovation and Research in Science and Technology, and CEO of C3I Hub, Cybersecurity and Cyber Defense of Critical Infrastructure Innovation Hub. The First and C3I Hub are Section 8 companies promoted by IIT Kanpur. He is the former CEO, Innovation Society, Government of Andhra Pradesh. The role of the Innovation Society is to kickstart the innovation agenda and promote entrepreneurship in the sunrise state of India. Dr. Agarwal has founded businesses and advised firms on strategic matters in last 20 years of his career. He has worked with global multinational. Dr. Agarwal has founded businesses and advised firms on strategic matters in last 20 years of his career. He has worked with global multinationals like Cadbury and Gensor, like RPG Group. He has lectured at leading global universities like Virginia Tech, University of Bradford, University of Edinburgh, and University of Cambridge in visiting capacity. His interviews and work has been extensively covered in international media, including HBR, Forbes, CNN Money, BBC Radio, the New York Times, to name a few. He has served on many international think tanks and held leadership positions in global organizations. He has served as high-level advisor to United Nations Global Alliance on ICT and Development during 2008 to 12. Board member at World Entrepreneurship Forum and Open Mind Foundation. He was the first Asian to be elected as co-chair of prestigious Internet Society Advisory Council during the period 2008 to 10. In 2017, he was nominated as Fellow of IC2 Institute, University of Texas at Austin. Professor Agarwal has traveled extensively around the world and worked with global institutions, corporations, and multinationals. He has published over 40 research papers, conference publications, and articles in top journals. He writes his column, Snake Charmer, in Times of India and Economic Times. He founded the entrepreneurcave.org, one of the world's largest entrepreneurship networks.
Hello.
Dr. Nikhil Agarwal
Participants,
is alumnus
there is a
of University
link in
of
the
Cambridge
chat box.
and
Please
University
join
of
with that Zoom
Edinburgh
link.
in the United
So
Kingdom.
due to some technical issues, we are unable to conduct the
Sir,
webinar in
Dr.
this
Nikhil
meet.
Agarwal Garu, we are fortunate
Please
to
join
have you
there.
here as our resource person in today's webinar. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Professor Agarwal to address the audience. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. Many thanks for the audience and thanks a lot for keeping up with us. Sometimes it says that we understand technology completely. I am muting everyone. So thanks a lot for Matoshri Engineering College for inviting me for this very important webinar. I have some links to Andhra Pradesh. Some of you have searched my LinkedIn profile would know that I was the Chief Innovation Officer, which is CEO for Innovation when Chandrababu Naidu was the CM. I was with the government for 3 years, and I was responsible of writing the India's first innovation policy in 2015. And many of you who belongs to Andhra, who have parents or even homes there, and many of you may be very young, but you might have heard about the work that we have done during the previous government time. I don't belong to any party, so there is no relationship with the TDP or TRS or YSR or Congress or BJP. It was just a pure play, the government job, because they invited me because they liked my qualification in the background and they felt that something substantial can be done for the state. And we have done some good work during the time. A lot of even my successors are continuing that work. Happy to see the startup innovation and ecosystem is continuously growing in Andhra and Telangana. In fact, in Telangana, we work very closely with T-Hub and IIIT, even IIT Hyderabad, I'll tell you a few stories when I go along. So we work very closely with them and then seeing that how we can collaborate together. In today's world, when we are sitting at home or sitting in our offices, when we are not meeting each other, the only way we can exchange the knowledge and we can learn from each other is continuous collaboration, continuous communication. If that does not happen, then the innovation will not happen. So I'll tell you a few stories and I'll show you a small presentation what we are doing. That will help you in navigating through the current topic. And then I'll speak for half an hour and then we can open up for the Q&A because I want the students to ask more questions. More questions you ask, more answers we will give. So that's how it works. So some of the stories that I will tell you will be able to resonate quite well, not even from the current situation, but also from the last year. Let me open up the PPT. Okay, I hope you all can see my presentation. So I belong to IIT Kanpur, as you know. So IIT Kanpur is one of the oldest institution in the country with the 60 years of history. In fact, IIT Kanpur was the first institution to have the computer science department in the country. And some of the most noted professionals in the world are from IIT Kanpur. Google, in fact, all of you, the Google has failed. You know, it was not working for me, but the funny story is that the Google was originated by a person from IIT Kanpur. So there is a professor called Rajiv Motwani. He was a graduate of IIT, then he studied at Stanford and then eventually became a professor at computer science at Stanford University. So two young boys joined his class in 1998 and both of them were called Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Eventually they wrote a master's thesis of using an algorithm for putting up the search engine, and that eventually became Google. So what I've been told is that in 2000, when they were converting it to as a company from the research paper or master's paper into a company, they offered Rajiv, why don't you invest $10,000 into the company, and then maybe we can it can become quite big in the future. So that was, but Rajiv eventually never invested any money. I'm sure the Rajiv unfortunately died in 2009. He died in an accident. And at that time, the Larry was very close to Rajiv. Even after Rajiv became advisor to Google, and he was paid some serious money for doing that. When eventually the Rajiv died, so Larry came to his funeral and said, for any computer program that you look in the world today, any computer program, and it is such an honor to say something like that. There is something, any computer program that you see today in the world, there is some Rajiv into it. So that was a biggest honor for a computer scientist can give, where the founder of Google is saying that his contribution is immense, and Rajiv Motwani was considered to be the icon of computer science at that time. Some of the more noted alumni that we have recently is Narayan Murthy, the global CEO of IBM. Incidentally, you will be quite surprised, and I'm sure you are also proud to know that now the biggest top 5 companies of the world today in technology are run by Indians. And they're all Indians which were like you and me, have studied in India, done engineering 30 years back, then gone abroad, and then eventually by their sheer hard work and dedication, they didn't belong to any family. They didn't have any money. They were not Ambanis or Adanis or anybody. They were just like hardworking engineers, brilliant engineers from India. They have eaten the same anda bhurji and pav bhaji or biryani at the campus the way you eat it. And then they worked hard and they become the top boss in their own places. So that is phenomenal. That's a phenomenal achievement for any of the Indians who can do. And we have produced some really, really top-end scientists and experts in India, not only from IIT Kanpur, but across the country. Hyderabad itself, I would say Andhra, Telangana, both the Telugu state itself has given so many top-level engineers and masters to our country. Going forward, coming back to IIT Kanpur, so this is a brief history of what we do at IIT Kanpur. We are one of the oldest incubators in the country. We were founded in year 2000, but we started our full-fledged operations in 2003. And in 20 years time now, we can proudly say that we are the largest incubator in the country with 100 plus companies incubated with us, or hardcore tech companies. Some of the companies which are more prominent one were like Curodev, which was eventually acquired by Pfizer for $500 million, Weather Risk, which eventually become the Met Global, which do prediction, Genco. So number of companies have done extremely well over the period of time. And we are very thankful that people come and incubate with us. One of the misinformation which I want to correct in the beginning of this session is that many of you would be wondering that, okay, only IIT students are allowed to work with IIT incubator. This is not true. Anybody who is having an idea, any Indian having an idea in the country can come and incubate with us. Whether you are an IITian, whether you are an outsider, it can be anybody who can come in. I think somebody is using the screen option. Kindly don't use it because it is coming screen. Let me just give me a couple of seconds to unshare and take away the rights of everyone. Okay, so I'll tell you one story. What happened last year? Last year was a story which is quite deep in our minds and our hearts. Many of us has suffered quite deeply, not only in terms of the COVID, but also sometimes the financial loss. I'm sure that most of you who are present today have lost some loved ones somewhere or other. But I think we have all surviving, I would say. We are all breathing, we are all surviving. There is a lot of fear which is there. So the whole COVID story is not very old. If you look at it, looks like that has been going on for years and years, but it's not a very old story. It's a very new story. It just started 1.5 years back, not even 1.5 years, just a year back on 13th of March. I was with the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh on 13th of March when we started hearing that there could be something like a work from home policy. And we were not sure that what the work from home policy would be. 14th of March, I came back to my hometown and I said, okay, I'll go back on 16th of March. But 16th of March onward, the work from home started. And then we had a very big event called Techriti, and that was somehow we have to cancel it. And 21st of March, if you remember, first time, there was a Janta curfew in the entire country. Many of you may not remember, but Janta curfew was there for almost quite some time. Sorry, Janta curfew was there for the, I'm just checking some certain settings. It is not, slide was not moving. So Janta curfew was there for the 21st of March. And then the things started changing dramatically. On 22nd of March, the lockdown was announced. So 18th of March, there was an announcement done by the uh, the Honorable Prime Minister, and that there is not enough ventilators in the country. If you recall, during the first COVID time, nobody knew what the COVID is. We didn't knew anything about the COVID. We didn't knew anything about what is going on, and there was an absolute chaos in the whole country. That how do we resolve the situation? Nobody knew anything. No one in the world was knowing anything about what the COVID is. It was assumed that the COVID will result in a lot of deaths. The COVID result in a lot of issues. The people will roam like zombies in the street. People will die. You know, nobody was knowing anything, and that was just an year and a half back. So 18th of March, there was a news report which says there are only 18,000 ventilators in the country, not enough ventilators in the country, and what we will do. And we immediately contacted. We said the government immediately contacted the missions abroad, the companies abroad, Philips, Samsung. Everybody said no, we will not able to help you out because there is a shortage of ventilators even in the other countries. If you recall, the Western countries started facing the COVID much earlier than us. Italy, Spain, UK, even US started facing those issues. Korea, Taiwan, Japan, China, of course, it was there for 3-4 months. So India came like 3-4 months after, but it started showing those. So there was a great challenge. So we said, what we will do? So we immediately formed around 20th of March last year. We formed a group which is called COVID-19 group of IIT Kanpur, and we said we have to tackle these issues heads on. It cannot go on like this. We cannot just sit idle and see. People were not even heard about the N95 mask. The N95 mask was available only for 900,000 rupees in the black market. If you are able to get one. And we know that we have to change the mask every now and then. And even that time we knew, because we have seen the SARS virus in the past, the H1N1 virus we had in the past. So it was a family of the virus, which is like H1N1, which was SARS virus. So that's why it's called SARS COVID-19 year 19, because it was discovered in year 19. So nobody knew about it, like what we will do. So immediately we formulated a task force. We said there are a few things that we need to tackle. The first thing we need to tackle is that we need to find out a solution for ventilators. Imagine that millions of people started coming on the ventilators, what will happen? And this eventually came true. This second wave, you have realized there are more number of people on ventilators and on the oxygen concentrator, which were there before, and our prediction has come true. Maybe a year later, but first wave, there was not such dramatic impact, but the second wave was absolutely crazy. So we said we will produce an India-made ventilator. And remember, none of us has ever seen a ventilator in our life, working a ventilator. We have just heard about ventilator, and we knew that the ventilator looks like this, and we did the Google search and everything, and then we finally find out that there is this is how the ventilator works. These are the components which are needed. We immediately spoke to people within the community, within the system. That another advantage of being a part of the IIT ecosystem is that their alumni is work very closely. So there is alumni in US and other places working for the top medtech companies. We asked them that how the ventilator works, and they explained it to us. I said, okay, we will build up a ventilator. Now you won't believe that within 90 days time, in fact 60 days, we built up the ventilator from not seeing the ventilator ever and building up the complete ventilator in 60 days flat. 30 days we took more for clinical trials, for testing. Today I can say more than tens of thousands of patients have come on ventilators, and none of the ventilator has shown any problem till date. And the ventilator cost is quite lower than the cost what is quoted by the Philips and the Samsungs of the world, which is quite low. So that is the innovation that we did, and I'll show you some more slides that what is happening. so this 60 days time we built up the ventilator from scratch. Now there were another challenges, I'll like the mask which I have shown you. Now this is a mask which I also use myself. Mask was available for 1,000 rupees, and only masks which were available in India were 3M masks, and the cost was pretty high. There were not enough masks, and no country was willing to help us out that time. Like now, that no country is willing to come over and said, okay, we'll do this, we'll do that. Nobody was able to do that. So we said, okay, one of our innovator, Dr. Sandeep Patil, which you can see on the left-hand corner, he is with our director, Professor Abhay Karandikar. So he said, I will build up the mask and I will reduce the cost. And within weeks, he immediately got the machine up and running. We have given a place for him to install the machine inside the campus, and he started producing the mask inside the campus. Today, he produced more than 100,000 masks a day. It is the most popular and most sold N95 mask in the country. And you can see on the top, there is when the parliament happened last year, and we were so surprised to see that all the party leaders, regardless of their affiliation, whether it's Prime Minister Modi or Mr. Tharoor or Mamta Didi, everybody, regardless, like they don't like each other, and we all know about it, but they were wearing the same mask. So we started running the campaign that divided by ideology and united by mask. So because everybody fear for the, so even if you are ill, it is not that you will take a TRS pill or a BJP pill or a Congress pill. You will take a doctor's pill. That is what it is. So science is beyond the religion, and the science is beyond the political affiliations. That is the most important thing. That is something which we have demonstrated. Okay, so eventually that the ventilator project which we did was lauded by practically everyone because it was an indigenous effort done by the engineers. And remember, many of these engineers have not even seen the ventilator and not even gone to the hospital. They were all young engineers who did that. We documented this into a book, a very interesting book by Mr. Shrikant Shastri, who is our alumni, also our board member. He is also the chairman of the IIM Calcutta Innovation Board, and Professor Amitabh Bandyopadhyay, that how do we build the world-class product during the COVID-19 lockdown. And so it is not just a book about this, just not the story about a ventilator being made. It is the story of that how we can create a business even in the critical situation. Now, something which I am very popular, I am a professor of entrepreneurship, which I always say that it's the stupid who miss in crisis. Remember, again, I will tell you again, that it's the stupid who miss the crisis. Crisis is the best opportunity for doing something extra. I'm not saying only for making money. There's not always an opportunity to make money. Sometimes you have to do things without money also. So it's whether you do it for yourself, whether you do it for your loved one, whether you do it for community, whether you set up your new business, whether you innovate something, that most of the time happens in the crisis time. Now, historically, let me give you a few perspectives. Historically, if you look at some of the most interesting innovations have come out during our crisis time. So one of the first innovations that has happened right after the First World War was Industrial Revolution. So the whole Industrial Revolution happened after the First World War, and we have seen the dramatic industrialization that has come through. Now, another important innovation which has happened during the World War time, which Germans lost it and becomes the US weapon, which is called nuclear weapon. So it was Germans' invention that eventually becomes the German engineers crossed, because they got to know that Hitler is going crazy and he will bomb everybody. So they crossed to US, and then US developed the weapon eventually, and we know what happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The another important thing which came during the World War II was cryptography. So you must have heard about the German Enigma machine. So that was one of the first automated machine to encrypt a message. The whole concept of encryption arrived from that machine Enigma. Then it becomes the RSA algorithm and others. And eventually today we see the frenzy which is happening in the Bitcoin space. It is all cryptocurrency. So the name crypto itself comes from the whole blockchain. So how does it happen? So all these things happened during the crisis time. It was a deep crisis. There was no food, there was no electricity, there was hardly any health. People are fighting each other, people are dying. The world war is going on. And then at that time you innovate something, you do something new. Alan Turing was the one who have contributed immensely on human-computer interaction during that time. I happens to study at University of Cambridge, and Alan Turing was my senior, and I'm very proud of that. Same with like Darwin, who was the theory of evolution, and number of other luminous alumni that the university has produced. So, and most of the time, what I have seen that whenever there is a crisis, new innovations and new ideas emerge. Now, the whole security infrastructure that you see in the world today, the continuous monitoring of the devices, the checks and balances at the airport, at the railway station, that has started happening after 9/11. The concept of terrorism is very new, is not very old. There were terrorists earlier, but the whole concept of terrorism started in only 20-30 years back. And that eventually became the 9/11. And after 9/11, the whole security gamut changed. It was a crisis. The thousands of people have died in US, and the US pushed the other countries also to adopt those infrastructure. Now in 2008, another crisis happened, which was a financial crisis. During the financial crisis, the system of banking emerged. Now today, the banking transactions are more secured. The banking, there is a proper rating, the CRISIL, like the way that we have CRISIL rating, they have their own ratings. So all rating systems started happening so that loans don't go bad, the banks don't go bad, and the people are suffering less. So after any kind of crisis happens, there's something new emerged. Now, you must have heard about my profile that I also had the cybersecurity at IIT Kanpur. One of my role is to develop a secured network to safeguard our critical infrastructure. A couple of things happened recently. I'm not sure whether you have read in the newspaper. The first thing was there was a shutdown of the Colonial Pipeline in United States around 4 weeks back. Now, why this Colonial Pipeline, which is a pipeline to transport oil from one place to another, why it is so critical? 40% of the oil was transferred using the Colonial Pipeline. And that got shut down because there was cyber attack. There were cyber criminals, and it cost US, it was shut down for 6 days. It cost billions of dollars to the US economy. Already struggling businesses have faced the crunch. And when the US struggles, because they are the largest economy in the world, when they struggle, the whole world struggles. At the same time, India also was facing a crisis. They were not able to help us. A lot of things were in bad shape just because one cyber attack happened on Colonial Pipeline and was shut down. And you will be surprised to know the cyber criminals asked only $5 million from the American government, and they paid the $5 million, and then eventually the cyber attack was removed. So that was an extent. For a small $5 million, you can shut down the entire half of the oil economy. Now, recently, the 5 days back, there's another attack has happened on one of the largest meat exporters in the world, which most of the Australian and American population is dependent on, and they have shut down the plant because everything is automatic. You shut down the plant. Now what happens, like when you have dependency on eating something, like you live in Hyderabad, you guys know that imagine that biryani does not come, the rice does stop coming, whether you are vegetarian, non-vegetarian, the biryani stop coming, the rice, you're not able to make idli, you're not able to make dosa, what you will eat? what he will do for 15 days or 1 month or 2 months. It will be quite a crazy situation for the people around. You can feel that, okay, I can eat bread, I can eat roti, but once you're habitual of eating something, it's your food security. Your food is hampered just because there was a one cyber attack happened. A number of incidents happened. Japan has incident at 10 days back. Ireland has an incident 10 days back. It is becoming more and more critical. Now, the another challenge that we have seen in the last 1 year is that cyber criminals are having a party. Cyber criminals are making more money than whatever it is. So there is an innovation. On a positive side, if you see, there is a lot of innovation happening now. A lot of innovation will happen in the security infrastructure. That what we are seeing now, unknowingly, a lot of people were speaking because they were not able to mute, or somebody was drawing. So it's an intrusion of its kind. Imagine that there is a eavesdrop, like we are having a very critical conversation, talking about something important, and there was somebody hacked into our system and hear this conversation and take out the information. If we are a company, it can collapse. Imagine that the two governments are speaking to each other. There could be an international crisis related to it. So a lot of innovations have happened. Now, have you ever imagined that 1.5 years back, 100 people were listening to me. I am sitting in Noida. You guys are sitting in Hyderabad or elsewhere, in wherever your hometowns are, and we are all getting connected and listening. So these stories, interestingly, that has changed. Couple of more slides, then I'll stop. Then you can ask me questions. Not only the ventilator project or the mask project that IIT Kanpur, we are involved in a number of other technologies, and we are quite cognizant that nobody is going to help us. That's something which I'm absolutely sure. Nobody is coming to help us out. No God is coming, no US is coming, no UK is coming. You have to help us out on our own, unfortunately. That's the truth. Our friends and family were not getting the oxygen. The other friends and family helped them out. Nobody else helped them out. Let me give you a good news that we are on our own. So we have to solve our problem. So we cannot just keep on importing technologies by saying, oh, we don't know, we are a poor country. We cannot do technology. Now we have to make our own technology, and not only we have to make our technology, we have to start exporting. In 1948, the Japan was completely devastated by the nuclear attacks, and there was hardly any money, there was hardly anything in the Japan. Going forward, it became the second biggest, just the tiny population, small Japanese population, and it's islands. There are islands. There nothing much happened in Japan. Despite of that, become the developed country, it became the second biggest country in the world, and today it is, after US and China, it is the third biggest economy in the world, which is phenomenal. India, despite of having a much better state in 1947 when we were liberated, we have not achieved that height. A lot of people say we have done enough, but not enough is not enough. If we are not able to provide enough food, enough shelter, enough health services for our people, we are hearing these stories in the newspaper that many rich people are leaving the country. They are afraid that they will not get health infrastructure here. Today, God forbid, if somebody gets in COVID, will you call a government helpline or you will call your friend or a doctor? Because the trust on the government, or whether any government I'm talking about, I'm not talking about a party specific government, any government, it's the government as a system has not worked the way that we wanted, because the dependency, the sheer dependency on outside products, that is one of the main issues that we have. We have to resolve it. We have to resolve it ourselves. Otherwise, we will remain the way and we will become poorer and poorer. Couple of companies that we are doing, just I will show these companies and then I will stop. The first company is an off-grid energy lab, which is making battery. The whole dependency on the lithium ion, which is imported from China, that will be reduced. We can produce our own battery without using lithium ion batteries. So the import from China will decrease. There is another company, Endor Air, which is making the vertical takeoff and landing helicopter. Recently, there was a flood in the Uttarakhand, and this drone helicopter was used to transport the medicine in the difficult terrain where the humans cannot go. The third company which is shown is like called AIPL. And you must have seen that you must have heard that there is a Bharatmala project happening in Gujarat where seaplanes can land. So you require a very stable infrastructure for docking and unlocking. This infrastructure is built by our company, which is fourth in the world. Only 3 companies in the world which do this kind of sturdy infrastructure. It can hold up to 100 ton of weight, which is extremely stable using the proprietary technology which is founded in IIT Kanpur. Not only the dry dock for seaplane maintenance, but it can also, you can develop a house or a hotel, floating hotel onto the which will not shake, despite of any kind of turbulence will not shake. There's another company called CD Space, which is doing GIS mapping for Survey of India. So number of activities are happening there. So I'll stop here and then let me take some questions if you have any. More and more questions will be there, then better it is. Yes. You can unmute yourself and then you can ask questions, or you can type your questions onto the chat box.
Okay, sir. Pawan is there?
Yes, sir. I'm here, sir, but there are no questions as of now in the chat box.
Yeah, let us wait. You can ask the people, they can unmute their mics and speak up.
Okay.
Yeah, they can mask, or meanwhile, I'll tell you a couple of information. So I'm sure Matoshri also has an incubator. So like any other, we allow the other Indians to participate in our incubation process. The only criteria is that the person should be Indian and the company should be registered in India. There is a number of government schemes. There is number of other schemes which are there. A lot of money is available. In fact, yesterday news item has come. Now the government of India has 50,000 startups registered on their portal, which is phenomenal. So that means that more and more people are wish to do entrepreneurship, wish to start new companies, wish to find out more about entrepreneurship. There are a number of networks that you guys can become member also. One of the link which I'll put it here, you guys can become member of this link. You can put your email ID. This called Entrepreneur Cafe, which is the global network where, and it's a free to join. You guys can join. You can share your ideas if you have any requirements or anything. They host number of webinars and other things that can also be possible. So you guys can become member of this. I have just posted this on the chat box. But yeah, so questions. Any idea, any comment or any question you have, you can just ask. Don't never think that is a bad question. All the questions are good questions.
Sir?
Yes, please.
Sir, if you had an idea for a startup, how can we contact you?
So you can come down to I'll put you the website name. So this website you can go, you can see, you can apply to there is a form there, you can make an application that if we like your idea and if you put it well, so provide as much as detail you can, who are the people behind it, what is the new technology, what new things you are doing, how it will help the others to had this been not done anytime or done, if there is something has been done, then what way that you're improving it. So those things that you put it online, and then we can invite you to present the idea in front of the committee. If the committee likes your idea, committee feels that the idea has some merit, then we can certainly offer you incubation.
If there are any other questions, please, you can unmute yourself and you can ask.
Guys, all the questions are good questions. Just ask.
Sir, What does the incubation consist of, sir?
Tejas, please unmute somebody is
Tejas,
Tejas, please unmute somebody
Yes, sir.
who is disturbing. Yeah, then off please. Tejas, come on. Somebody is asking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, what does
Yes,
this
please, go
incubation consist of? Like what happens
So
after
incubation, that's a good question. So incubation, the meaning of incubation is like the concept of incubation comes from the incubation of a baby. So when the baby is born and the baby is not healthy, I would say, or baby needs some additional support, you have to keep the baby in the incubation for a few days, right? You have to, so it's a more safer environment where you can grow. Same thing with the goals with a startup. So startup is also a baby. It requires a continuous monitoring, support, mentorship, and also some kind of medicines. Like medicine does not, of course, you don't take pill in the startup, but your medicines in terms of guidance, in terms of compliance, in terms of providing finances. So mentorship, research, technology, finance, these are the components which form the part of the incubation. So a number of people comes to us. Many people who come to us are looking for lab support or research support. They want to test their idea in our labs. That is one of the ways of doing it. There are some people like who are looking for business mentorship. Then they come to us. So that's the meaning of incubation.
any other questions, please?
Recon?
Sir, I've muted him, sir.
Okay. Participant, please come out openly. Any doubts? If you have, please you can.
Sir, I think you can proceed, sir. They will post in between if they have any questions.
Okay, now I have, I thought that maybe 5-10 minutes we will open up for the questions. And more questions are always beneficial because I can go on for the whole day. So certainly the more the queries that you have regarding or any of the comment you want to make, so that will be always useful. But one thing I can tell you that this is the best time to do something. Don't wait for it. If you wait more, don't. I know like many of us are going through a very sad times. Practically in every family there is some challenges happened, whether it's in terms of COVID or in terms of death or in terms of financial loss. But at the same time, we have to keep ourselves strong. We have to find ways to communicate. One of the things which I would strongly advise you guys to speak to each other more often. Meeting is certainly not possible all the time. And number of times it happens that the innovation does not happen because until as you meet and you talk to each other and you go into the lab and you work on some idea. I understand that is a possibility, but now the online tools has provided us an opportunity for doing more than it is possible. The more and more people are coming, and I have seen some really amazing ideas, like the way I've shown you the ventilator. There were 20 people in the ventilator team. They were all remotely available here and there. And then only 6-7 people were in the factory actually doing the work. The rest, everybody was like giving the inputs about their the working of the ventilator, sometimes supply chain, sometimes compliance, sometimes testing, sometimes this how it should happen, this how it should not happen. So that's how the innovation happens. Innovation happens in a team. Innovation does not happen individually. So my request and suggestion would be that create your teams and bounce your ideas with each other. So Isha has one question: how do we contact you? So, and in the case you have an idea, you can go to SIIC first, or you can send me an email. I'll put my email ID also here on the chat. So here is my email ID, Isha. Just in case if you have an idea, you can contact your HOD or you can contact me. I'm sure. So anybody can innovate. I'm telling you guys, I have seen people even with the limited education. You all are engineers with very limited education, with not even have formal education. They have done some phenomenal work. It's just like you need to have a knack of identifying a problem. Identify a problem and try to solve your solution. But I really sorry that today there was a lot of technical glitches. Normally it does not happen like this. But the glitches also tell us that we are not, these technologies are still not perfect. So here is the idea of an innovation. Can anybody of you can make another perfect Zoom or perfect Google Meet? Even the Googles and the Zooms are not able to solve this problem. Can you guys solve the problem? If you are able to do that, you can become a Google tomorrow from Hyderabad. I can tell you.
Yes, sir. There are a lot of disturbances both in the Google Meet and also in Zoom, sir.
So imagine that we can remove those disturbances. We can safeguard. That is a great
we
innovation.
Are doing that, sir. So if you unmute them, if you mute them, they are once again unmuting their mic and causing disturbance.
So now I'm saying that there is a gaps in the technology itself.
Right.
How do we solve these gaps? Somebody can solve. Engineers are there. He can solve these gaps. Then the Google and Zoom will pay them.
Definitely, sir. Yeah.
Sir,
the people should try. The youngsters should try to solve such problem.
So I think Pawan has another question. Sir, if you have an idea what is the process we need to do till we complete our project. So I think to develop your idea, try to do a POC or a small pilot, because small pilot will give a demonstration that how your idea is emerging, whether it works or not. Try to do a market survey, that what other ideas are there in the market, something similar. You may feel that this idea is absolutely unique, but there is somebody else who has done it. So studying the market is quite an important activity, which you should try to see that how, what kind of competitor products are available, what money you need, what team you need. Those things you can put it before you complete it. And there is a lot of money also available with the government. Government is quite encouraging. Within Telangana, Andhra, there is schemes running for the student. You can get anything between 50,000 rupees to 5 lakh rupees for an idea. If you have an idea, you can apply through your own college. There is Government of India schemes are there. You can apply to those schemes as well.
Yes, sir.